Ladies and gentlemen, another warm welcome, this time from Lisbon, Portugal. So, ladies, we are flying on road. Usually I'm in Berlin, but today I'm in Portugal. It's a fantastic country, and we are having a guest speaker from another fantastic country, which is Pakistan. Before I introduce our speaker, my name is Daniel Stecher, Vice President Airline Operations IBS Software. I'm your host and moderator today. And today we have our 16th Aviation Women Panel. Amazing journey. We started it 2020 on the 8th of July, and I was never expecting that we are going to have so many Aviation Women Panel. And today we have a guest speaker from Pakistan. We have Uma Batul, chairperson of the board, talking today how to start an airline in Pakistan, challenges and opportunities. And we have agreed that I'm going to make the screen sharing and that she is also visible on the video. When I understood you correctly, Uma, you have prepared a question and answer session at the end of your session. So maybe people can ask questions in the chat functionality. And at the end of the session, we have a Q&A. So let me just find your, here it is. And now make the screen share. The stage is yours, Uma. Can you see the slide?
Yes, I can. So a very good greetings to good evening, good morning to anybody, whoever is from joining from whatever country in the world. This is Uma Batul, myself. I'm the founder and chairperson of Alveer Airways, an upcoming airline in Pakistan. And today I'm going to talk about how to generally start up an airline anywhere in the world, and particularly in Pakistan, and what kind of challenges and opportunities you would be interacting with while you have thought of starting a business like an airline. So if we can, this is Alveer Airways, this is our logo. I would like to explain our logo and the, can we go back? And the idea behind the colors and also the punchline. And I would like to introduce, my COO as well, Captain Shazib Mahmood. He's ex-Air Force of Pakistan, and he has been a fighter pilot, and now he's in a part of our core team.
Hi everybody. Hi Daniel. I hope all of you are good and listening to me. It's a great pleasure for me to be here and to be on this forum and discuss with you about what the challenges are there in Pakistan and what are the opportunities here. As introduced by my co-chairperson, and my background is basically from Pakistan Air Force, and I had been flying many fighter jets, including the most sophisticated jet, which is an F-16. And I had been an instructor over there also, so I have a lot of honors with me. And then I switched on to the commercial side. And in commercial side, I have worked with few airlines, and I had been founding members of few other airlines also. So then finally, I've got a chance to be a part of this core team and be with the chairperson, Ms. Uma Batul, and do my best in making this airline a reality very soon. That is a very small, humble background which I would like to share today. And rest we are going to talk about our presentation in the moment.
Okay, thank you, Shazib. So I was just going to explain the name and the colors a little bit. I would just explain the gold color, not the maroon, because it will be very difficult to make people understand the connotation of maroon color in the theme, in the logo. The gold color, we have this holy place. The center of our worship is Holy Kaaba in Saudi, in Makkah Muazzama, and the door of that Holy Kaaba is made of gold, and the gold color inspiration is taken from there. And fly another sky is our punchline or our tagline, you can say. So the idea is to take the passenger and ourselves as well to something unique, to something new, to another horizon, which we already know of, but we would like to journey at a different world, at a different place. So next, please. Okay, so the preamble, like we need to understand the normal and abnormal, particularly in the COVID, post-COVID world. Uh, we have faced the challenge of COVID-19 in terms of our businesses, in terms of our personal lives, and in terms of, I think, almost everything has been affected by uh, COVID-19. I hope I'm loud and clear to everybody. Okay. So
Absolutely.
in
That we are
normal
sitting in the
times,
room.
thank you. In normal times, business is like a journey on a road where everybody, all stakeholders, they get equal opportunity and they are running in the same direction. And some might turn away and try a different path to succeed. And some might altogether believe that the only way to get ahead is to slowly catch up and take the lead, which is the most challenging thing to do. So this is how the business mind or the competition works in normal times. But in abnormal times, the business puts industry in crisis just like a fork in the road. So this is a very interesting fact I'd like to explain ahead, that all competitors reach it together and are forced to pick a path at fork. This path at fork can be risky at times and sometimes it leads to success. So there is no guarantee, no security, no surety of what you're going to do, whether it will succeed or it will fail. So this is like a risk. This is like an uncertainty. So crisis can be an equalizer as well. This is a good point for startups, for the new players, that it puts all the big players under a stress test and gives new players all the opportunities to take advantage of. So this is what has happened to airline industry due to COVID crisis as well. That the players already in the market, they had huge investments, huge infrastructures, huge operational costs. So they were facing those challenges to survive, to come up to something which will not hamper or which will not jeopardize their survival in the industry. Whereas it created a space as well for the new players, for the ones who were inspired to come into this business in many different dimensions, not exactly particularly only airline businesses. Aviation business is a combination of many businesses. There are so many other agencies also working directly or indirectly in aviation fields. Next, please. So yes, post-COVID world. This is in post-COVID world. I think it was very unfortunate for many companies that they had to shut down their operations and they had to they were gone bankrupt. And few of the examples are Air Italy, Atlas Global, Flybe, and these are just few. I just listed like two or three of them, but there are multiple actually. And then there were personal issues also. Of course, there was downsizing because the revenues were not generated by the airlines and by different companies. This was a general, you can say, chaos and general devastation of business in the whole world. Across globe, it was same for everybody. No matter how stable the business was, it just got jolted with COVID-19. So over 10 million of jobs were lost, and now as the borders have reopened, the companies are inventing themselves with the new set of consumers with new needs and wants. For the first time in a long time, where there is a real opportunity for something new, there is opportunity for in airline entrepreneurship. So this is self-explanatory that there is a gap where new players like us can come, and many like us are thinking to come into this business. And this business, I must explain one more thing, that aviation business is something very charming also. This has a unique mystery to it. People want to explore this business, they want to come into this business, and that's how the industry, that's how one particular business becomes an industry. So, and next I would like to discuss the idea of Alveed. This is also something very interesting. I have already shared my story in many interviews also, and in general conversations, and wherever I go for lectures, I share the idea of Alveed, that how it occurred. I've already shared with you, but for the new listeners and the new participants in this particular session, I would like to explain it again, that this just occurred to me because once I was traveling and I had great difficulty in finding ticket and traveling and making it on time to my required destination. So what I thought on the way to my destination, that why not to start with an airline? Why not to have my own? Uh, Although the reason was very personal, but it just gave birth to a huge idea. It gave birth to a Herculean task, and I have engaged people. I'm going to generate something which is far beyond personal, which will benefit the industry, which will benefit the economy, which will generate employment, which will generate small scale revenues for many small scale businesses as well, because the vendors, once they are attached with an airline, they are also creating job opportunities, they are also creating employment to meet the requirement of the airline. So first thing, I think this is not just the idea of Alveer, this is the idea of life, that having faith. So this is a very particular phrase I have learned from my mentor, that have faith. Like having faith is something not difficult at all. Once you have committed yourself to some faith, to some belief, that then there is no reason that you cannot achieve it. So these are just some general ideas of life, that and the next, excellence and commitment. I always say to my students, also to my listeners, to my audience, that commit yourself to excellence. And once you are committed to that kind of excellence, and once you want to deliver something beyond ordinary, something extraordinary, then I think rest of the things, they become the byproducts of that commitment, like your business, your lifestyle, your fame, your grooming, your growth, your potential. It all becomes a byproduct of that commitment which you have given to excellence in life, no matter what the task is. It's an airline, or it's another business, or you're attached with travel industry or teaching industry, any given field for that matter. So, and roadmap to success. Yes, you develop your own roadmap to success. You create your own pathways towards success. These are just general thinkings to start up for any business, to take any initiative in life, to commit yourself to any kind of cause, to commit yourself to any kind of job. So think beyond. Of course, thinking beyond is, there are particular ideas running in the industry, but you must think beyond. You must at least try to think beyond. Not everybody is capable of doing that. And yes, name of the airline, I would like to give it a bit of brief, that this is a clan. That we have a holy personality in our history that has a religious connotation as well. He was a companion and cousin of our prophet. His name was Ali, and from there we have driven this name of Alveer. And the philosophy behind Alveer is that Alveer is going to offer something very unique to the market, to the passenger, to the industry, and even the kind of license that we have. It's a different license. It is a variation of the pre-existing licenses. And yes, if there is some business that has to click, I would say, whether it's airline or any other business, if it has to click, it will click just with very basics. And if it doesn't have to click, it will not click even if you are at advanced level. So I think first point, this is a cyclic point, that having faith is something that sails you through. So I would like to quote even an example of Alveer here, that we have gained quite an attention in the market, not only in local market in Pakistan, but across globe. We are being highlighted for many reasons. And I would like to share the fact that we started off only with the team of 3 people: myself, my co-founder, and our COO. So we were basically only 3 brains shuffling within the company, and sharing our roles and sharing our vision and sharing our efforts to put things together. And it worked. So far it is working very well at a very good pace, and I have faith that very soon we will make it a reality and we will be up in the sky. So the point to explain this whole thing is that if it is meant to be, it will be. So you need not worry. There is competition. You have to actually um, give a rebuttal to that competition. People will want to crush you every day. They would want you to close down every day, but you do not give up. You just keep running in your own path on your own pace. Next, please. So this is the story of Alveer. I have already shared the story that it was just a moment. I would still use this word, that it was just a revealing moment, that when I thought that I can make it up and I can take it up, and I did, and now it is. We have geared up. For example, you can say we have geared up for a flight and for a fight in life. So, and also the first wings that you get in life are wings of imagination. I just imagined one thing. It's not nice to quote myself over and over again, but it is important that you understand that how things can become reality from just a moment of imagination. I just imagined having my own airline, and I'm halfway through with this imagination. I have made means to make it a reality. So, and more things, yes, personal commitments, habits. Coming to aviation industry, I was used to with different businesses. We were more into manufacturing business. I was dealing with the manufacturing of medicine. But once I entered this field and this industry, I had to actually review, revamp, and redesign my habits. You have to be very dynamic, very energetic and you have to be spot on. You have to be precise. You have to be crisp. You have to be brief. You have to actually redesign your habits within your own given nature. Of course, we can't go beyond our nature. We can't change ourselves to a large extent, but of course, we need to recommit ourselves to a new cause. This aviation industry is like a 24/7 job. You get addicted to it. It becomes your passion. So I like to, get every day I learn more new things. Every day next day I want to learn even more. So yes, can we go back? Yes, this right decision making and timely decision making. This is very important. That you have to take right decisions. You have to what are the kind of decisions that you have to take. The decision is to engage your team, to find right people for you who complement your philosophy, who complement your the kind of business you are, who complement the kind of people you are, and who complement the kind of things you are going to require from them. So, and then of course improve your knowledge, keep reading, keep studying, keep talking to people, keep conversations going on. You learn the most in your conversations. Once you have exchanged the ideas with the most competent brains in the market, I think you walk off with some point of learning in your mind, and learn to understand the statistics. Yes, that's a very, very important point. Aviation industry, I have seen till date, my journey is all about statistics. You need to understand. There is so much of data on how the airline is working, that you need to understand that data, and you need to learn how to decode the data, also how to interpret it, how to learn things from it, how to exclude things from it, how to conclude, how to move further. So next, please. Okay, these are general steps. I have again put up commitment. For me, I think for any business, for airline particularly, for any business, what is most important is it is your commitment to that business, to that cause, to that ambition, to that dream. So next, please. Okay, so this is business plan selection. These are still general steps I'm talking about. That in people hearing me in any country, they can make use of these ideas. They have to understand the facts, that how to, in which direction to move. Okay, it should be your business plan selection is the most important thing, and it is the first thing that you look at, and this is the first thing that you design in your business. So this should be unique in terms of pricing, fast travel, and what your competitors don't offer, niche, and the gap of the market. What you call that there are your competitors are lacking in that particular area. So create your own sky. This is create your own ground. This is your own thing. This is your own life. You design your own story. You design your own business. You design your own philosophy. You design your own lifestyle. You design your own dreams. So I would say that this thought, this particular trait of your personality, or this is the freedom that God has given you. He has given you the freedom to choose, to design yourself, to your life. So this you can incorporate in your business also, that your business plan selection should be something very unique. Okay, avoid being crushed by the legacy air careers. So legacy air careers are the careers existing in the market. They have huge investment. Sometimes they're very well established, and they can compete you in ways that you won't be able to compete back with them. So that's a mistake. If you think that you can compete with them, that will damage you. So what you do is you avoid that kind of competition, and then start small and grow huge. Take baby steps. Start off from small. Never leap into something too huge that you cannot handle. Never leap into something so vast that you lose the direction. So you keep focused, take baby steps, and grow gradually. No, I think next, please. Yes, not competing against legacy career to avoid price war. Price war, I can explain that if I have, for example, an airline A or B or C, D, any airline existing in the market, they bring down the price from one destination to another, like on $100. I cannot do that because I have my own operational costs. I cannot compete with them in this tug of war of the prices. So you must avoid this part also. In your business plan selection, these are important things that you need to focus on while you are designing your business plan. That's your first thing that you would need to do while you are planning to start an airline. Operating margins are less than 5% in airline business and must be at least spanned on 5 years. So you make like a long-term plan. And I see a chat message also. I cannot read it, but sorry, I'm interrupting for a moment. I have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. People can ask me questions, and I think we need to move also quickly because there are a lot of slides still left, and we are running short of time. So it must be spanned at least over 5 years. So secure funding. These are the funding sources that you need to look at. You need to have a proper homework on. That is investor, banks, creditors, and finances. Next, please. AOC. So AOC is the certificate which will enable you to take your aircraft in the air. So in USA it is Part 135 and 121. Europe it's EASA AOC certification, and in Pakistan it is called RPT license, and Charter Class 1 and 2 license. These are different types of licenses. Then the license that I have, my airline has, is TPRI. This is the Tourism Promotion and Regional Integration License. It's a type of license which is for scheduled flights. Next, please. Okay, this is also very important, aircraft. So what we need to understand is that it is an integrated kind of strategy. You need to have your aircraft, your business plan, and your the kind of AOC you're going to get. They should all complement each other. They should be integrated. They should be on the same pace, and they should provide you with secure and profitable business strategy end of the day. So there are 3 types of options. You can purchase the aircraft, and you can have the operational lease, financial lease. Now if I start to explain these things, or my CEO starts to explain these things, I think we will spend the entire presentation or even more in explaining one point. So people just need to understand these basics and study at their own. That's why I said that reading is very important. Improving and enhancing your knowledge is very important in this business. So Pakistan, let's talk about a bit about Pakistan also. Like everybody else, like anybody in the whole world, Pakistan is my heart and soul. It is my country. This is where I was born. This is what has given me identity, and we are out of 7 nuclear powers in the world. We are one of them. and we have very interesting geostrategic location. And simply, I think I cannot express my love for my country, but let's talk about some facts also. What it is. It is basically the name of the country is Islamic Republic of Pakistan because our religious faith is called Islam. So it's a country in South Asia, and it is world's fifth most populous country with the population exceeding 225.2 millions. And this is world's second largest Muslim population and 33rd largest country by area. The name Pakistan literally means a land abounding in the pure, or a land in which the pure abound. Pak means pure in our language, in Arabic and Urdu both. So as per international tourism receipts, around 950 million US dollars was spent in Pakistan in 2019. And with this diverse cultures, we have different demographies, we have different cultures, we have 4 provinces where people are ethnically and culturally, they have variations, they have a variety of culture, of faith, of day-to-day norms, and some major destinations for tourists are Gwadar, Khyber Pass, Peshawar, Karachi, Lahore, Swat, Skardu, Gilgit, and Chitral. These are all our destinations in our country. Next, please. Okay, this is the same one. Next, please. Okay, so Pakistan's domestic air travel is quite underexplored. So that's why we have tried to catch up on this gap. The kind of license that we have, TPRI, this itself is very much relevant to the tourism promotion, and I believe the kind of tourism potential that we have, it has not been explored yet. So that's also my cause and my commitment to my country as well. So it has just, despite the huge population, just 4 million domestic seats in 2019. As per official airline guide, it shows that it has just 0.02 domestic seats per person. This is a very tiny, and in India it is 0.12. For in comparison or in ratio to our overall population, the kind of seat factor that we get, that's very, very less. So it is important that in a country like Pakistan, we expand this industry, we expand aviation industry. There are more and more people, and air travel becomes easily accessible, easily approachable for everybody, for all the population, or as much as possible. So if we put it another way, this is Bangladesh geographic area is 6 times smaller than Pakistan, and the pair have a similar GDP per capita, yet Bangladesh had more domestic seats per population. Pakistan's international market increased by 68%, with over 8 million seats added between 2010 to 2019. So within 9 years, we had a 68% increase. So the situation is hopeful. You always have to look at how the industry is proceeding, how the market is going. That's where you catch up your share. Next, please. So this is a bit of this is a graph that will explain the seats. If you look at this 400, yes, you can.
Actually, this graph actually tells us that over the period of years, Pakistan domestic travel, or the domestic market has seen much of a variation. So right now, close to 4 million passengers or so, between 4 to 4.5 million passengers are traveling throughout the year, which if you compare it to the population of Pakistan, that is what makes you the factor of 0.012. So that means that if there is an opportunity or to growth, so obviously if somebody will come in with an opportunity with a good aircraft, he's going to catch it. So more availability of aircraft, more availability of seats will definitely ending up with more domestic travel for Pakistan.
Okay, next please. So the challenges, yes, the challenges to start up any business, for example, is to find the right management team, and I would count myself lucky that we got a good number of people, good team. our CEO and myself and my other co-founder. So we all used to work dedicatedly with more of passion than a commercial interest. I think we are still, even till date, we are not looking at the kind of business we're going to generate. We are just going to, we have committed ourselves so much to this business, to this particular challenge, that for us, like it's more of a passion than a business. So, and the geographical, yes, challenges. So the geographical parameters of Pakistan, that how much is the distance between two particular points. So that's very less in Pakistan, and also the GDP per capita is quite low. And then oligopoly aviation market, that's a very interesting point, that there are very few competitors already existing in the market. So the concentration of the businesses with just few number of entities. So making a space into that becomes a challenge for an airline like us, or for any startup airline anywhere in the world. This runs almost in the same design anywhere in the whole world. So because aviation market is not something which is very open, it's not like a mall that you will find it in every street and every corner of the city. They're very specific, and since it's a very specialized business with huge investments, so the number of competitors or the number of initiatives is always very less. So yes, for 225 million population, less than 50 aircrafts in total. So that's what I was just talking about, that the air travel is not as accessible and as easy for passengers in Pakistan. So what government of Pakistan is trying to expand this industry, bringing new airlines, bringing new business groups into this aviation field, so that the air travel is something common, something easily available to everybody. Sorry. Affordable also, yes, at safe measures. So major traffic 50%, 56% is on two destinations. The Lahore and Karachi are two cities in Pakistan. So most of the air traffic is shuffling between these two cities, between these two destinations. So there are so many other destinations which are unexplored and which are not accessible to the passengers. So we are working on to that also. Non-existence of domestic tourism opportunities by air. So there are few destinations which are which are tourist destinations. They're very much tourist specific, and if I show you the pictures, the time is running very fast even in this presentation. Otherwise I could show you the pictures and you will be mesmerized with the kind of beauty that we have in Pakistan. I'm sure many of you don't know many places in Pakistan, but maybe we can have a dedicated session onto that also at some point in future, that I'll show you how beautiful Pakistan is, and how much is the wild beauty that we have, in terms of we have everything. We have mountains, we have sea, we have greenery, we have forest, we have hills, we have you name it and we have it. We have minerals and we have very good weathers. We are not a weather harsh country. We have summers, we have winters, we have spring and autumn. We enjoy all four seasons of the year, and nature has blessed us with this extraordinary feature, that we are not a weather harsh country. So due to rapid increase in road network, small city connections by air, they have been reduced. This is also a challenge, and you have to refer back to your business plan also to explain this point, that there are so many destinations where road travel is convenient, is cheaper, is more suitable for the passenger. So that's, you have to keep these factors in your mind while creating and designing your business plan. So our regulatory body, can we go back? Pakistan Civil Aviation requirements. I would call it that Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority is something is a regulatory body which is very conscious in terms of safety, in terms of security clearance. That the company which is starting off with the airline business, since as I already explained that we are a nuclear power also, so our agencies, our regulatory bodies, they are very safety conscious. So we have to go through a lot of preliminary screening. We have to provide too many proofs and too many securities to the regulatory body in order to get through this step of acquiring the license. License is the first phase and AOC is the next phase. So to reach the license phase, it is a very tedious journey. You have to provide with too many things, with a lot of paperwork and with a lot of security clearance. So aviation in Pakistan has yet to gain the status of industry due to this bank. Yes, this is a very interesting point as well, that since we are very few and we are very basic in this industry, like in if we compare it to America, I think you will find many airlines, many aircrafts, and the travel between state to state is quite common, quite frequent, and the number of aircrafts will be a lot. But since Pakistani aviation industry is still in the phase of growing, in the phase of expanding, so the banks, they do not work much with the airlines. So this also becomes a challenge, that this is not an industry yet, I would call it. For example, I would like to explain it this way, that if you have housing schemes or the housing, that has become an industry now. The banks are happily involved. They like to work with the companies. They like to work with the end user also. But in aviation, this is a challenge. You will not find banks willing to work with you. Yes, limited number of professionals who have adequate startup experience due to less number of airlines. This is again the same point, that we are very less. We have about 4 or 5 airlines, and there are so many in the queue now. We are the first one to get the TPRI license. And yes, I would like to explain another challenge, the first time challenge that I will explain after this. That let me explain it just now. That we are the first ever tourism airline in Pakistan. So we hold this credit. We hold 2 credits of the first ever tourism airline, and I'm the first ever woman owner of an airline in Pakistan. So the woman owner thing, nobody can take it away from us now. Even if another woman comes up, she will be following me, or I'm more than happy to welcome another woman, and I would like to see more women in ownership and leadership capacity, and that will make me very proud and happy of my gender. So the other first time, the first ever tourism airline, I'm seeing my competitors, with all due respect, they are my seniors also. So I think they have started to capitalize this term a lot now. Since we got the license in July, but after July, I have seen the market, echoing with this phrase, first ever, first time, another first time, we are doing this first time, first ever time. So I enjoy this also, and I feel proud also that even without being into operations yet, we have started a trend in the market. So these things also become a challenge. You have to keep your business plan also a very discreet, very secret, because anything can be taken up by anybody. This is an open market. The whole world is an open market. Nobody can own an idea. Once it is floated, it is floated. It is everybody's idea. So the first time thing I explained. Okay, in previous years, open sky policy. Of course, open sky policy, everybody understands. I'm not sure the kind of participants we have here, but I would like to explain that open sky policy is that any airline can come and operate in your country. So this actually hampered, and this actually challenged the growth of the local industry in Pakistan. So people preferred, the passenger would always prefer to travel on a Star airline than to prefer a domestic one. So this kind of became a challenge for us. Next, please. Okay, there are 2 markets only, Boeing and Airbus, and due to this, it is a great challenge to induct a new type of aircraft, which is already not certified by the regulatory body. As I already explained, that our regulatory body, it is a misconception in the whole world that we are not safety conscious or we are not quality conscious people. We have to go through the kind of tedious procedures that we have to go through to get a license or an AOC. I think people shall come and see and study the kind of country we are, highly safety conscious. So coming back to this point, that when you have to bring a new type of aircraft, the kind of aircraft we are going to bring in Alweer Airways, we have to go through an extensive exercise of getting it certified in Pakistan. This is also a challenge. It involves huge amounts of money, and it involves many steps, many complicated steps, and it involves a particular span of time also. For example, if you have to do the training, you cannot do the training in one day. It has to have its own time. So a new market has to be developed for anyone planning to start on a new route. So if you have to pair two new destinations, you have to market your route. You have to inform people of that. You have to inform passenger of that this is the kind of destination we are going to fly to, and then only then they will understand, and then they will know that you are working on this route. You have to establish a market for your new routes. So price war, can we go back? Price war, yes. Among big players makes a new entrant bleed more money. So as I told you, this is a cutthroat competition. Everybody will just want to do things and capture it and have it with them. So you have to be very conscious and very careful onto that also. In terms of competition, you cannot make yourself put at a loss. Next, please. So these are the opportunities, and I think we can just quickly, because we're running short of time also. Can we proceed, go ahead of 1 hour, like 5-10 minutes? Is that okay?
All good. We can do it as long as you reach your final slide, and if people dropping out, we still have the recording. No issue.
Okay.
But we're not doing it 5 hours. That would be too long.
Yeah, I'll just try to wrap it up in as early as possible, because it becomes boring for people. This is my business, my love. I can talk about it for hours, but people have spared their time to listen to me.
But
so
you still have at least half an hour. You have still half an hour. That's the schedule. And if we need 10 more minutes, no issue.
Yes. I'll just wrap up quickly. So the size of the population itself is a huge opportunity, and the government of Pakistan is supporting tourism as well on all levels. Our license is one basic evidence of that. So, and New Gwadar Airport will be our biggest airport in South Asia next 1 to 2 years. This is a destination in Pakistan, and it will become the biggest airport in South Asia. A lot of untapped new market is available. Skardu Airport is being declared as international airport. And small regional jets, this is a important point that I think we need to look at a different option other than the Airbus and the Boeing and the bigger aircrafts. From we have to go to regional jets, and that can create a whole new market, a whole new paradigm in aviation industry in Pakistan. So Gilgit is mostly clear in winters. However, landslides, they close the road. So the opportunity is that Gilgit is a very popular destination in Pakistan. So it remains, the seat factor remains like 90% across here. So this opportunity we can exploit, we can crystallize, we can capitalize. And CPEC is a very important thing. This is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. This is an economic cooperation between China and Pakistan, and it is going to generate huge amounts of businesses and revenues and employments and business windows for many types of vendors. So this is in phase 2, and this also is a great opportunity for new entrants. So as per Bloomberg, Pakistan has been ranked second, where middle class income is going to increase as the figure below. Can we go to next, please? Okay, so Pakistan is the second, will become the second largest country where the middle class income will increase, and henceforth it will create their desire and need to travel further and to explore, and for tourism and for business travel and for any kind of travel. Once the businesses and the incomes are improving, the travel automatically improves. Travel industry is based onto that. Next, please. So Pakistan was declared the best holiday destination in 2020, along with the third highest potential adventure destination in the world. We have many adventure sites as well where adventure can be planned, and I'm sure from European countries, from Western countries, people are so fond of adventure activities, and they take time and funds out to perform these activities. Domestic and international tourism is likely to break all previous records in coming years. So in post-COVID world, this is one good positive thing. And 4 new tourism promotion airlines have been issued the licenses by Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority and undergoing AOC phase. We are also one of them. Next, please. Conclusion. Yes, Pakistan is the land of opportunities and abundance. I call it the land of abundance. We have, as I explained, everything. We, first of all, the biggest factor or the most elevated factor that we have is our hospitality. Is because even our religion and our faith supports being hospitable, being courteous, being nice, being welcoming. So this is very important to understand that once you have come to, I would like to invite anybody who is listening to me anywhere in the world to come to this country and explore how beautiful the people are, how beautiful this land is. And we are a land of abundance in terms of hospitality, food, nature, wild beauty, mountains, hills, beaches, sea and forests, everything, you name it and you have it. And those who trust this land of pure, it entrusts them back with these success stories. Like we are one. We have trusted our land. We could invest our money anywhere in the world, but we invested in our own land, in our own people. We want to generate employments for them. We want to generate revenues for them. We want to engage them for employment. We want to expand. We want to commit ourselves to a cause. And it, honestly speaking, I so proudly want to own the fact that it has given us the kind of fame and the kind of success it has given us. I can only be grateful to Allah. Next, please. Okay, this is the founder of Pakistan. His name is Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and it is impossible for me to conclude any of my life philosophy and speech without mentioning him and his friend Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Even today is his birthday. Though they were two friends, they had this idea of making this country for us Muslims, and they made it. So this is how, and I follow him in many things in my life. So he says that with faith, discipline, and selfless devotion to duty, there is nothing worthwhile that you cannot achieve. So this should be the theme and philosophy of your life. Next, please. Now we are open to question and answer session, and our CEO will be handling all the technical questions that anybody from anywhere in the world has to ask, and I'm also here. Yes, please.
Thank you, Uma. Thank you very much. I think that was a fantastic presentation, and yeah, I'm looking forward now to the question. And there was already one question from Anne. Maybe Anne, you want to verbally repeat your question and maybe also switch on the camera, because I think when I understood your question, you were saying you can, of course, compete against legacy carriers.
Yes. Hello, Uman. Thank you so much for a fantastic presentation. It was so interesting, so good. Yes, I was saying that. So I was saying, but surely you can compete with legacy carriers if with a better service and a more customer-centric approach, and actually to use better technology to not get stuck in a lot of legacy technology that you typically see legacy airlines facing. So that was my question.
Well, I totally agree with you, and thank you very much for your advice and your comments on that. Because if you ask me, I would not like to copy legacy carriers ever, because the kind of problems they face, the kind of aircraft they have, the kind of manpower they have, they were good in their own times. Let's say if we take the aviation industry back somewhere like 20 years back, that was the time we had very old airplanes. They were not very computerized. They were not very safety conscious. Such kind of problems were there 20 years back in the industry. But if you ask me right now, I would never like to follow any legacy carrier, and I would like to put my airline all automated. If you ask me, that is what my goal is. So I would like to introduce technology, and we are working day and night for that, to get in the best kind of softwares, to get in the best kind of technology for our airline. I hope we are going to achieve that and need your prayers for that.
Thank you.
And I see, and potentially Noreen is now applying for a pilot's job for Alvia Airways because Noreen is a pilot. So, so Noreen, what's your question?
No, yes, thanks. I've been in the airline industry for 40 years actually in Canada, and so I see huge potential, and I'm really excited for you both that as you start out on this great adventure. And I wonder, you talk about regional jets, and somebody's asked the question what kind of jets you're looking at, and I wonder about your niche. You talked about a niche. And how do you build your culture, right? That's different from a legacy airline.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Noreen. And first of all, I'm glad to know that you have been working in this industry for 40 years. And I hope you're a pilot yourself, because I'm a pilot as well. So I can understand what you are trying to say. The point regarding a legacy carrier and the regional jets, like if you talk about the regional jet, why I went for regional jets was that it's one of the safest way, in my opinion, is to make a person travel in a jet. Like if you ask me, why didn't I talk about the turboprop? I was never comfortable with turboprop in my whole life, and I don't think so I'm going to get comfortable with it ever again. So as far as the regional jets are concerned, as I have told you, the data is that we hardly have just 4 million passengers in a year. And all these 4 million passengers are being taken care of by the existing carriers. So if I have to match them, I could have brought in an Airbus 320 and then get into a price war with them, maybe bear a loss of a few $1 million for a few years, then I would be able to make my market. But when you talk about a regional jet, it's a very short kind of like filling up a 50-seater aircraft. That might not be a big issue for me, rather than to fill up a 180 or 200-seater aeroplane. So, in my opinion, to start with, you should always try to do a humble start. Try to come into the market, plus the kind of airfields which we are targeting to, they are like not beyond 6,000 feet. They are at high elevations. They are like only maybe turboprops are going over there. So after doing a lot of studies with the OEM part and with all discussing with a lot of pilots, we came to know that a small regional jet is the one which can land at any airfield close to 4,000 to 5,000 feet. So we will give people a good kind of an experience to travel in a jet. And let's say if a turboprop is taking you 2 hours to reach a destination, I'm sure you're yourself a pilot, a jet will take just 1 hour or 10 minutes. So that kind of things is what this Alvia airline is going to is different from others. So as far as legacy carriers are concerned, they don't care what is coming new to them and what they want to do. So I hope that answers your question.
I just want to follow up with that because I fly in British Columbia in Canada. A lot of my flying has been on a turboprop. So and the stage lengths and the cost per seat is probably better in some of the turboprops. So yeah, and I just wonder whether you talk about legacy and your market, whether there's an opportunity to partner with a legacy airline. And I'll leave it at that. There's lots of thoughts I don't want to take up. I want to let other people speak. But yeah, thank you and good luck. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much, Noreen. And to agreeing with your point regarding a turboprop, the cost per seat is definitely comparable to, or you can say it is less. But if you know, there are other parts for a selection of a jet. Just a cost per seat might not be what is suitable to us. Like for me to bring in a jet, if I am flying my jet for 1 hour, there is a cost, there is a maintenance cost, there is a maintenance reserve cost, which I have to pay. But at the same time, when a turboprop is doing, maybe the cost is less, but the number of hours and the number of cycles and the maintenance of a turboprop engine, especially when you are doing a feathering part of overhead or when you are going a blade maintenance kind of thing. So these things, if you see in abundance and you see in a global picture or in a bigger scenario, my calculations have come out to be there are hardly a matter of maybe 18, 19, well, it's minute. 1 to 2% is not beyond which you cannot afford it. So people are generally for turboprops, and in Pakistan, this myth has always been there. That is why we see only 80 hours over here, and people don't get into the jet portion. So, in my opinion, if a jet is flying for 1 hour and a turboprop is flying for 2 hours, so if you do the cost per seat, you will get the answer yourself.
And also, Christine has made a comment that the great thing about being a new AO is the benefit of seeing all the lessons learned by previous existing AOs. Of course, I call it a startup handshake. I have even phrased it. I have even named it. That this is, I mean, you don't have to enjoy the damages or the losses they have suffered. You have to have a holistic approach towards finding a solution which is beneficial for you and for everyone. For example, I would like to relate it with the COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccine was not just for one person, not for just for one country, not just for the benefit of one particular set of people. It was for humanity. Same is the case. Whenever human race has progressed, has become more civilized, they have to have the community along. So as aviation people, as a startup airline, I would definitely like to shake hands with whoever is in the business, and I would like to definitely share my startup challenges with them, and I would like to hear from them also, in order to devise a holistic solution which is not only for beneficial for me. Maybe my brain can think and work differently than theirs have. So I think it is very, very important to partner and to align with the pre-existing airlines and with the pre-existing companies of the same strength as friends, as the same stakeholders. So unless you do not unite, they say a house divided against itself can never stand. This is by Abraham Lincoln. Said so you have to have a unity within your own industry also. So all my other competitors, other airlines, and the new airlines that are getting licenses, I would definitely, as a founder, as an owner, I would like to shake hands with them to find most beneficial, cost-effective, and efficient ways to progress and to develop our businesses.
And secondly, in my opinion, to second her point, uh, what we talk about interlining, especially with the legacy carriers, or even if you do an interline with some international carriers, because in Pakistan we have to protect interest for the domestic industry also and the new upcomers also. So interlining is something which, in my opinion, that is one of the good thing to do, rather than going for a code share, or if somebody wants to do code share, it's fine with us. But interline is what I would be looking for as a CEO for my airline, and I am already in talks with a few of the international carriers also to promote this culture of interlining. And when inshallah Alveer will do it, rest assured many others will also do it.
What I would like to know is, now being the new kid on the block, how are you getting now applications for pilots and flight attendants, and then flying a very specific equipment? How are you managing the onboarding and the crew training? How is this going at the moment?
Okay, Daniel, basically, as far as the pilots are concerned, we have already shortlisted the pilots. As I told you that we are looking into some regional jets, so I would be definitely taking those pilots who have some jet experience. So turboprops guys are also there, but they have to do a conversion or MCC course to get into a jet orientation course, so that they can know what a jet is. However, as far as the cabin crew are concerned, if you ask me, we haven't given any advertisement for pilots or cabin crew, but I have got more than 3,000 or 4,000 applications in our database for coming from different aspects of the aviation field. So obviously, where we are right now, I'm looking forward to finalize my plan for induction of the aeroplane, and when we are moving with our T date or T naught date, and we are T minus time right now we are following. So when the time will come, we'll definitely advertise that. And I've already coordinated for all the pilots training and the cabin crew also. And there are a few partners with us. They are helping us out in that, and I'm really grateful to all of them. There are also few in USA, few in Canada also. So they are our very big supporters, and with their help, I'm sure we'll be able to get our training done and get this airline up in the sky very soon.
And yes, there is this question from. Yes, please. Yes.
So, and then the next question would be, how are you organizing now, let's say, the sales of the tickets? Do you have already a schedule planned? And how is, let's say, the sales organization that, of course, you are growing according to your business?
Okay, Daniel, as far as the sales are concerned, in Pakistan, there are, talking about especially the softwares, right? I'm a man of softwares. I believe in IT. So there are multiple options, you can engage. Actually, the problem with Pakistan industry is that around 70 to 80% industry is controlled by the travel agents. So those travel agents are basically the one who again have a major share in the aviation industry, and they are the ones who take the commission and they sell your seats. And but what we are trying to do, we have shortlisted or we have finalized one of the very best softwares in the world, which is already NDC4 IATA NDC level 4 compliant. And that software is going to help us in increasing our sales at not only in the domestic level, however, it is going to help us in getting onto the GDS also. And many travelers across the world, they can, even if you are sitting in Belgium, if I'm not wrong, you would be able to go find a seat in Alvir Airways and you will be able to book it. So that is the kind of things we have already worked on, and hopefully when we go live, you will be the first one. I'll give you a seat so you can come back and fly with us. So that is an offer from my side. So we have done a lot of work in our sales side, and the same is for the maintenance part. Somebody asked me a question about maintenance. One of the few best top 5 softwares regarding the maintenance. We have shortlisted them. We had hours and hours of briefing with them. I have shortlisted around 2. And I expect that in coming months, I would be able to sign an MOU with them and then start into the implementation phase. So everything is lined up. We are just trying to meet our deadlines every passing week or every passing month. So rest assured, inshallah, when this airline is going to come up, people will have a very unforgettable kind of a journey with us, because our chairperson is a woman and her hospitality, nobody can even imagine. So I'm sure her guidance and her kind of exposure she has, she's very particular in a lot of things. So this airline, I don't have any doubt that we are not going to be one of the good airlines.
As I explained earlier, that nobody can take this credit from me of the first time now. Being a woman, I think whoever is coming will be my, co-lead, co-team, and I'll be very glad to receive people in this leadership capacity anywhere in the world. It is always so encouraging and so such a pride moment to see women progressing this way. And I always want to congratulate you, Daniel, that you have taken this up, and you don't know the kind of difference that you are making in this world by taking up the priority to let women talk, to let them have their own platform, to let them speak about themselves. Even yesterday, I was just delivering a lecture, and I just told the students, they were youngsters, and I was just telling them, I'll just quickly, briefly share that the women empowerment is not only financial empowerment. It is to create an environment whereby they can feel the confidence to be themselves. They can feel the confidence to take a decision. They can feel the confidence to step out of their houses. In my religion, a woman is a very, very protected entity by her man, by her father, by her brother, husband. She is overprotected in my religious faith. But at the same time, our religion gives us all the rights and all the confidence and all the trust to take our own decisions also. And this is how the societies progress. This is how the societies grow. This is how they become absorbed, and this is how they progress. This is how they become more civilized. So this is my take on what women empowerment should be. So yes, Alveer is looking at multiple vendor partnerships for maintenance. Of course, as I explained earlier, that once you start up an airline, there are so many co-partnerships that you will have to do with many kind of vendors. So inshallah, by the time we are on to that phase, we can get in touch with whoever is listening to me. You can just contact us on LinkedIn and on our website.
Thank you, Uma. Also, thank you very much for the very kind words about Ladies Beyond Flying. Yeah, I think we are a growing community. Till date, we have 531 members, especially also after the announcement of today's speech. We had many, many new members. And already looking ahead, we are looking for the 17th Aviation Women Panel, which will be December 14th. And there we have a male guest speaker from Lufthansa Industry Solutions, or Lufthansa Systems, talking also about diversity and inclusion and what he is doing in the industry. And we have already also made the schedule for the 18th and the 19th Aviation Women Panel, which are then in January, February 22. So the journey is going on. And yeah, I thank you very much for this fantastic presentation. Uma, I think we learned a lot, and I'm also already very eager to see the reaction once it's published. And please share the word about Ladies Beyond Flying. And I hope that you are also joining us with your CEO in one of the upcoming panels also as a guest, and then you can also ask questions there, but also please keep us up to date about the evolution of Alvia Airways. And I wish you all the best, that all your dreams come true.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this honor and opportunity to speak my heart out today. I spoke more for everybody, for the whole airline industry in the whole world, rather than my own airline. And I spoke about life, and I spoke about my heart, my dreams, my moments. And I think everybody can journey in the same way. And I would like people to watch my interview on BBC as well. I will have it subtitled, and I will upload on the YouTube as well, so that they can hear my story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and please stay healthy and safe.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
So